wildfires burn across the Los Angeles region.
Fire! People running down the street.
The story centers around a 911 operator named Joe. He often deals with people misusing the emergency line for issues they could easily handle on their own.
Okay, so where are you at? Did you take drugs, Drew? You shouldn't do that. What did you take?
Speed. I'm fucking scared.
I understand, but it's your own fault, isn't it? If you give me your address, I'll send both an ambulance and the police.
No. Fuck, no.
Amid his busy schedule, Joe receives a call on his personal number from a journalist. The journalist asks him about his plans for the court hearing scheduled for the next day. However, a reprimand from his superior forces Joe to end the call and return to his duties as usual.
No calls. I already told you that.
As no emergency calls came in, Joe decided to take a short break. He sent a voice message to his family, wishing them a good night. It's unclear what was on Joe's mind, but he briefly lost awareness as he became engrossed in his thoughts. He didn't even notice the phone ringing persistently, as if begging him to pick it up.
It's ringing, Jesus, man.
"911, what is the address of your emergency?"
Among the countless calls he had received, this was the first truly urgent one. A woman named Emily reported that she was being abducted by her own husband, leaving her two very young children alone at home.
Emily, and do they have a weapon?
Despite being abducted, Emily managed to call 911 and report everything that had happened to her. Without a hint of suspicion, Joe immediately contacted the patrol officers to rescue her.
And send them east.
You have a plate number?
No, but the woman will tell me when she sees the officers pass. Hold the line.
Unable to obtain the car's license plate or Emily's exact location, Joe managed to gather a crucial clue. The vehicle transporting her was a white van heading out of town.
Emily, do you hear me? I will be waiting. My name is...
Fuck.
After the call was disconnected, Joe immediately contacted each of the operation officers stationed near Emily's location. However, a fire that broke out that night overwhelmed the officers, especially with the sheer number of vehicles and white vans in the area.
Can't, he took the exit.
Pull up next to him.
Can't.
Fucking follow it!
Despite a thorough search, the officers were unable to locate Emily and her husband. In a state of panic, Joe immediately contacted border officials to shut down all access in and out of the city.
Come on!
We don't
Just
have enough
fucking
information.
find a car and block the freeway.
The constant refusals left Joe furious. He even lashed out at other officers, drawing everyone's attention to him. Joe, who still hadn't obtained the license plate number of the car transporting Emily, faced significant challenges. The officers he contacted were reluctant to assist him, as without the plate number, they couldn't track the vehicle and believed the operation would only waste time. Using his intelligence, Joe managed to uncover Emily's identity and quickly called her home phone. The call was answered by a child named Abby, who kept asking about her mother's whereabouts.
Mommy?
This is Officer Joe Baylor, LAPD. Is your mommy or daddy home?
No. Mommy and Daddy just left me.
After calming Abby down, Joe began asking her a few questions, such as where her parents went, her father's name, and whether her father owned a large vehicle he often used. Abby answered slowly, one question at a time, explaining that her parents had gone somewhere unknown. Her father's name was Henry, and his large white vehicle was usually parked in the garage.
What were the numbers you just pressed?
213-100-72.
Abby also explained that she had a baby sibling who was currently fast asleep. She was too afraid to go near the baby, worried that they might wake up and start crying.
It's okay. You just go in there.
Try to wake him up.
You won't wake him up if you're very, very quiet.
From the information provided by Abby, Joe finally uncovered details about Henry, including the license plate number he had been searching for. Without wasting any time, Joe relayed the information to the field officers to take immediate action.
Good girl, Abby.
Okay, bye-bye.
While lost in thought about Emily's family, One of Joe's colleagues, who appeared both curious and concerned, asked about his condition. However, Joe spontaneously responded with harsh words, causing his colleague to become deeply upset with him. Showing no signs of remorse, Joe announced to everyone to notify him immediately if they received any emergency calls from Abby or Emily.
Plate number is California 2 Frank Tom David 12 King.
After successfully providing the license plate number to the officers, Joe requested additional assistance for Abby, who was currently with her baby sibling without any parental supervision. However, his request was immediately denied due to the overwhelming police duties related to the massive fire occurring that night.
Be advised, we're stacked up on multiple fire calls. You can show us en route with an extended ETA.
Joe faced rejection after rejection. At one point, he was even reprimanded by an officer who was frustrated with his persistence, accusing him of not understanding how overwhelmed the field officers were.
Wait for her to call back. Do your job and I'll do mine, okay?
Realizing his mistake, Joe apologized to the colleague he had snapped at earlier. He even invited them for a cup of coffee once their work was done.
We should get a beer sometime.
That sounds good, man.
15 minutes before the shift change, Joe decided to move to a quieter room. There, he felt freer to vent his emotions, make phone calls, or do anything else he couldn't do in his previous workspace. There, Joe immediately contacted one of his colleagues to dispatch a team to Abby's house, as she was currently without parental supervision.
Okay, could you send a car over to 5800 Regis Street, apartment 6? It's urgent.
Still not receiving any updates from Abby or Emily, Joe decided to call his wife out of longing. However, their conversation didn't go smoothly, as their relationship was, in reality, on the verge of falling apart.
Come on. We've been separated for 6 months now. I'm not going to keep doing this with you.
In addition to rarely making time for his family, Joe was also dealing with a serious case that involved a court trial. Even though he knew his wife didn't want to hear from him, Joe still pleaded with her to attend the court hearing the next day and serve as a witness in the case.
Good luck tomorrow.
Jess.
Just as he was reflecting on his conversation with his wife, Joe was irritated by a citizen who called him and yelled at him for no apparent reason.
I need an address.
Hey, all right, you know what? Fuck this. I'll figure it out.
Hey.
Fuck me? Fuck you. Go to hell.
All right, yeah, fuck you!
Calming down from his anger, Joe immediately called Henry, proposing they work together by having him surrender so his children could reunite with Emily. However, this was far from an easy task. When Henry refused to respond and abruptly hung up his phone, Joe once again succumbed to his emotions. Worried about the court hearing scheduled for the next day, Joe called one of his colleagues who would be assisting him as a witness. He urged his colleague not to consume alcohol, as it could jeopardize their credibility as a witness.
You're my witness tomorrow. I can't have you come to the courthouse hungover.
No, of course not.
Eventually, Joe's colleague admitted to having had 2 glasses of alcohol. He explained that it was his way of easing the burden of his fear about the upcoming trial. It turned out that Joe's case, which had been ongoing for 8 months, had caught the attention of the FBI, who had even visited his colleague's house for questioning.
I had the feds at my house this morning, you understand?
Seemingly forgetting about his own case, Joe asked his colleague for assistance in going to Henry's house, which was not far from their current location. He also requested a search of Henry's house to uncover what he had been planning all this time.
Baylor.
Shortly after, Joe received a call from Abby through his boss. Abby reported that someone was at the front door of her house. Joe reassured her to stay calm, explaining that they were police officers sent specifically to keep her company.
Abby, do you know where your little brother is?
He's sleeping.
The police were shocked to see the state of Abby's house, which was in complete disarray. Their shock deepened when they found Abby's sibling in the kitchen in an utterly horrifying condition.
Tim, what the fuck is going on? What the fuck is wrong with you? What's going on?
Abby, get back. Okay.
Tim?
Abby, just come with...
Yo, Tim!
Who would have thought Henry called Joe again to explain something? However, Joe overwhelmed with anger, kept insisting that Henry surrender. In the end, Henry hung up once more, even though he desperately wanted to convey something crucial.
What, that can't happen? That can't happen? What do you want me to say, that you're a victim? You're not a victim. Emily is a victim.
Meanwhile, his colleague arrived at Henry's residence. However, no one was there. Only a filthy space filled with garbage and piles of unpaid bills left behind by Henry.
The place is practically empty. A mattress, some toys, unopened.
At the same time, Joe received another call from Emily, who sounded extremely frightened. She was now in the back of the car, allowing her to contact Joe freely without fearing that her husband might overhear their conversation.
Emily, if I'm gonna help you, just hold the line.
I don't want to get locked up.
No, but where are you going? I'll get you out of the car.
During that moment, Emily was instructed to find something she could use to defend herself and strike her husband as soon as he opened the door.
Now, I'm gonna get you back to Abby, but I need your help, all right? I'm gonna need you to go find something in the back of the van to defend yourself with.
When the car stopped, Emily, using the last of her strength, recounted what had happened to her child. She saw her child terrified and crying incessantly because of a snake. Emily immediately killed the snake, calming her child instantly.
The snakes.
What snakes?
Realizing inconsistencies in Emily's story, Joe, in shock, concluded that Henry was not the perpetrator. Instead, it was Emily who had become the suspect and committed everything. However, just as Joe was about to demand an explanation, the call suddenly disconnected, right after he heard a pained groan. Still in a state of confusion, Joe received a new report from his colleague about Henry and Emily's divorce and their battle for custody of their 2 children. The report also revealed unpaid psychiatric hospital bills under Emily's name. It turned out that Emily was a patient at the psychiatric hospital.
The only thing from San Bernardino are some unpaid bills from Patton State Hospital. She was a patient there.
This time, Henry called Joe directly to make a confession. He explained what had truly happened, starting with his wife's illness and how she accidentally hurt their young child.
My son is dead.
Henry admitted that he no longer had any money to buy his wife's medication from the hospital. As a result, he tried to care for her at home, hoping that her condition would improve. Amid his panic, Henry begged Joe to let the matter go. Otherwise, his wife would be sent to prison after being proven guilty of killing their child.
Oh my God, she thinks that she helped Oliver. What, I needed to help her.
Henry?
In a highly tense situation, Joe finally reconnected with Emily, who had been trying to reach him earlier. Emily confessed that she had become fully aware of what she had done. Overwhelmed by guilt, she decided to take her own life to reunite with her youngest child, who had already passed away. After asking his fellow operator to pick up Emily, Joe tried to reassure her to stay calm and not take any drastic actions. He told her that Abby missed her deeply. Joe even revealed his own criminal act, admitting that he had once killed a 19-year-old teenager simply because he was infuriated by their behavior.
I killed a man. A boy, actually. 19 years old. Joseph. Still a boy.
When the police arrived at the scene, Emily, who initially seemed calm, returned to her resolve to end her life, hoping to reunite with her child in heaven.
Go over to the officers.
I'm gonna go be with Oliver, Joe.
Emily?
The sadness and fear Joe felt turned into happiness when he received a call from the police, informing him that Emily had been saved. His joy grew even more when the hospital reported that Emily's youngest child was still alive, although in a very critical condition. Morning had arrived before Joe realized it, meaning he had to head to his court hearing. But before leaving, he called his colleague and urged them to tell the truth about what Joe had done. Even though it might land him in prison, he believed it was better than being haunted by guilt for the rest of his life.
Joe, you good?
What an incredible plot twist this film delivers. Although it lacks explosive action scenes, the tension and adrenaline remain palpable throughout the story. Lesson learned from the story: truth is not always what it seems. The film reminds us that initial assumptions are often misleading. Beneath the surface lies a reality far more intricate and unexpected. This serves as a powerful reminder to approach situations with patience and an open mind, ensuring we fully understand the facts before drawing conclusions.